A few weeks ago, I got into a motorcycle accident that I still can't talk about because of all the legal crap that's going on, but after I've had time to separate myself from that and think about it, I've come to the realization that there was something sitting in a box right over there on my counter that would have been so helpful in that situation. That's what we're talking about today. So a few weeks back, I was prepping up to do a long ride to do some battery testing with some action cameras. With as busy as it's been around here lately, I was really looking forward to just a long ride, and it was just going to be me, the motorcycle, and we were riding until the batteries died. You know, I didn't have to motovlog, didn't have to constantly stop, get off the bike and do talk to cameras and stuff like that. So I was really looking forward to it. And a week beforehand, Cardo had sent out their Packtalk Pro, which is the upgrade from their Packtalk Edge model. And I had been meaning to install it, which looking back was kind of silly because there's no real install process. The Packtalk Pro just clicks onto the same little mount that the Packtalk Edge clicks onto, which I guess inevitably just means I was being lazy with it all. So regardless, after getting all my gear on, making sure the cameras had full charge so we could do a full battery test, I headed out for my long ride that I was super stoked for, having no idea what was going to happen that day. Just so you guys know, this was one of those perfect days. I had this long, twisty route figured out over on my Kalimoto app, which is just my ride planning app of choice, and I set out to do some battery testing. You know, it's kind of weird. We hear these sayings a lot of like, dress for the slide and not the ride, and other sayings like that, and I don't think I've ever gone out to do a long motorcycle ride and thought, oh, today's gonna be the day where I'm gonna get into an accident. But regardless, the weather was absolutely perfect, and I was probably out riding for over an hour. I had my route start me off kind of like winding through little parts of town, and as the route went on, I was gonna get farther and farther outside of town and get into the more country areas. Now, after riding for about an hour, and without going into too much detail, I'm going along some little side road somewhere in Atlanta, and the road is slightly curving to the right. Now, I come up to this stop sign, and in the very last second, the car that was there decides to pull out, and obviously I run directly into that car. I fly over the handlebars, and I'm just sitting there laying on the side of the road. And guys, this situation is so disorienting. It almost takes your brain a second to remember where you're going and what you're doing or anything, and it is just not a good situation to be in. Thinking back on the situation, the first thing I even remember was talking to either the police officer or the firefighters as they were kind of asking me all these questions to find out if I had a concussion at the time. And I feel like it was a moment later, as if I had just blinked and everything was done. The police report was filed. The dude that I hit was driving off and literally left his bumper that my bike had ripped off. I look across the street, my mangled motorcycle is just sitting over there, and as I'm sitting there looking and taking all of this in, I have the realization that I haven't even called my wife. She has no idea something has happened to me, and that starts the long process of I call her, I tell her how to get the trailer hitch on the car to go to U-Haul to pick up a trailer so we can get the bike home. Just, it started that whole process after all of this stuff had happened. Now, after getting off the call with her and getting her down the process of getting to me so we can get the bike home, I clearly had a lot of time to sit there on the side of the road and wait, and I couldn't help but keep kicking myself constantly, because if I would have just taken 30 seconds to get my Packtalk Pro and install it, this whole situation would have been so much different because of two features that I was already like super excited to check out. Okay guys, so let's actually talk about the Packtalk Pro now, and one of the key features, especially for this story, is the crash detection that they have put on board. Now, Cardo actually put an accelerometer inside the Packtalk Pro, so while you have it on, it is able to sit there and monitor if you are getting into a crash or not, which is absolutely fantastic. And if you are unfortunate and get into a crash, what it does is uses your cell network and it contacts the person that you have in there as your emergency contact. So if something happens, you get in a wreck and maybe you're separated from your motorcycle, or you're unconscious or something like that, this is going to be able to contact your emergency person for you. I love the peace of mind that that feature brings. The next feature that I am a huge fan of with the Packtalk Pro is their auto off feature. Now, I want you guys to envision for me, how many times do you go for a ride, when you get back, you're hot, you're sweaty, you just want to get the gear off and you want to go chill out. So next thing, you take your helmet off and you just sit it by your gear or whatever. You don't touch that helmet until the next time you want to go for a ride, maybe the next day, maybe 3 days later. What happens? When you go out there, you put your helmet on and you turn your Cardo on so you can listen to your music. Your Cardo turns off because you left it on that whole time. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but it happens to me all the dang time. So what this auto off feature does is, using that accelerometer that they put inside the unit, it will monitor if your helmet is moving. Obviously, if you're riding, the helmet's on your head's moving around, the accelerometer knows that. If the accelerometer notices that you're not moving the helmet, I think it's for about 30 seconds, the unit will actually turn itself off. That's one cool part, right? Saves battery. Then when you come out to your helmet and you pick your helmet up and the accelerometer feels you picking your helmet up, it will turn the unit back on again. It is absolutely insane, and I've gone probably weeks at this point where it's been like over 7 days. I pick my helmet back up and it just turns back on. It's absolutely nuts. Obviously, it depends on how much you ride and stuff like that. Now, I will say something weird that has happened to me a couple times is I use this feature up like permanently. I almost never turn this thing off. But I had a situation where I was going to film a first ride the other day, put my helmet in the back of the car after I got done riding, and everything was chilling back there. I was filming some more stuff. So I came out to my car, got in the car, and I was calling my wife, and I was literally like ringing her, and I was backing the car up. And then as I pulled the car off onto the street, the call that I was on actually got pulled into the helmet because the accelerometer, I guess, basically thought I was going out for a ride. So in a situation like that, to avoid it, all you have to do is manually turn the unit off, and the auto on-off feature will be turned off. So there is a little weirdity, but that's only if you're riding with your helmet in a car. Now guys, these are certainly not the only upgrades the Packtalk Pro is bringing. I mean, it's still a Cardo. The battery life's fantastic. The air mount is literally next level. It's blacked out, and you guys can literally check out all the stats if you want, but these are the two most important features to me. Well, I guess one's important and the other one is just like crazy convenient. But when it comes to motorcycling, it's already a crazy dangerous thing to do. And when I come across a product that could literally be the difference in a rider's life being saved after they get in a wreck, I just don't feel like that calls for the same, like, you know, product review and reading all the specs and, you know, showing you guys cool B-roll. I don't think it really fits the vibe. Honestly, guys, I can still so oddly, vividly remember the moment that I was walking out of the garage door that day before I went on that ride. And I remember looking at the Packtalk Pro box, and you guys know that thing where you're looking at something and, you know, your logical brain is like, dude, it's gonna take 30 seconds, just go do that. But then like the idiot part of your brain is just like, oh, but no, I want to go for a ride. That's gonna spend 30 seconds of my ride time. It's so stupid, but regardless, I'm glad I made it through everything okay. I'm glad everything happened okay like it did, but I just can't help but think like, what would have happened if that whole situation would have happened and I would have gone unconscious or something like that? My wife would have had no idea. Anyway, I'm glad I'm okay, and if you guys are out there either looking to grab a Cardo for the first time or maybe upgrade your Edge, the Packtalk Pro is literally everything the Edge was, just better, safer, and more convenient. And I'm not going to tell you if you should buy one or not, because obviously Cardo is a sponsor of the channel, but I'll tell you this, if something happened today and something happened to my Packtalk Pro, I would literally go buy another one the next day. The level of safety I feel having this, knowing that if something happens again on the road, this is going to contact my emergency contact. It's just something really nice, and I'm not going to ride without it. You know, guys, I think we look at units like this and we think it's just a convenience thing. You know, it's really nice to be able to talk to your buddies in a group while you're riding, or if you're like me and you ride alone a lot, it's really cool to be able to listen to your music while you ride. But this thing now could be a life-saving device. Whether you find yourself just casually riding or, like I was, you're in an unexpected situation, the Cardo Packtalk Pro is far more than just a Bluetooth device. It's peace of mind. Now, thankfully, I'm okay, and this whole situation has just been such a big wake-up call to me. If you guys are out there riding without crash detection or something as reliable as the Packtalk Pro, all I'm saying is consider it twice before you go on your next ride. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video by hitting the like button, and I want to hear from you guys. Have y'all ever been in a situation where having crash detection would have really saved your butt? Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. You guys go out there and enjoy the motorcycles as safe as you possibly can, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.